I'm Harold Tenney, principal at Washington Traditional School. I'm in my sixth principal here. I went to school here many, many years ago as an elementary student. In fact, my dad and his brothers and sisters went here, and me and all of my brothers and sisters and all of our children went to Washington Traditional School. There's probably been what we call subtle changes. It depends on what the requirements are for the school district and the state for student assessment or testing. And as the state has changed their testing, it used to be the ITBS test, and now it's the Ames test, and it's going to change again to what's called the PARCC test. And when these tests come, we have to change our curriculum to match what the students are going to be tested by. And so as that's happened, we've seen, for example, that for the first time, starting next year, all state testing will be done on computers. And so it's important for students to know how to use computers in their regular school activities. And so one of the major changes just recently was that we've added an additional computer lab that we call the Academic Technology Lab. We have 3 computer labs, one for the kindergarten and first grade, one for second and third, and one for fourth and fifth. We're the only school in Prescott School District that has 3 computer labs, and so that's one of the major changes. The rigor in relation to the academic subjects is going up for all schools. The good news, due to Washington Traditional School's curriculum, we've always been rigorous here, so it's only simply a matter of changing what we teach, and we still continue with the same rigor. We have students who are growing up with digital learning already. They have iPads and iPods and iPhones and computers at home, and so the way they process information is different than those of my generation. And so we're finding to keep students engaged, we find as 21st century digital learners, we need to have a curriculum that matches to that. And so the students do have opportunity in the lab not only to learn new things, but allows us to assess the learning both for what they learn in the computer lab and what we learn in the classroom. And so it's more efficient, we're finding it more effective, and we're also continuing to look at programs that we find on the internet and otherwise that are academic in nature. Some of the other programs that we have in the lab include Success Maker, which is a comprehensive assessment program that is aligned with the current Ames test, and we're going to be having the new version that align with the PARCC test. And what it does is measure students at their individual level, and as they grow, then the questions become more complex. And because we're teaching those standards in the classroom, they're being assessed in the computer room, they're individualized in nature, and it allows the students to grow at their own rate. One of the changes that we had this last year is when we added more time in the computer lab, we also added teachers to be specialists in math, and so students go to a math teacher once a day instead of going to one teacher all day. We have made a conscious effort to make sure that the transitions from classes is kept to a minimum. For most classes, except for one class a day, students transition out to recess and then they come back into the other class. So with that being the case, the number of changes in this school program this year is only one more than what they had last year with their other program. We believe at Washington that learning can be fun. It depends on the presentation and the attitude of the students and their parents. We want students to come here who want to explore and enrich. We want to provide them the knowledge base so that they can do it effectively, and so we do push the rigor in the scale sets. But as they develop those, particularly in the intermediate grades, 4th and 5th grade, students are given more opportunity to explore through their talents in their gifted areas, whether it's with arts, whether it's with math, reading, student leadership through our student council, whatever avenue they have, we try to embrace that in their learning so that it becomes a place of motivation and fun. And traditional is a word that was embraced a few years ago by a number of schools with the hopes of returning to those traditional values that we find have helped students to be successful in education. Traditional for Washington is how we treat each other, how we expect students to do their very best, and how we provide a curriculum that addresses all the needs of different kinds of students. What is unique to Washington, and this I think is best defined by our school mission statement, and it is innovative instruction, traditional values. For those of you who are looking for schools, let me first say again that all the schools in Prescott Unified School District are quality schools, and you will enjoy going to each of those. We simply are saying, as you look at the schools, that you'll take the opportunity to come by Washington, talk to me as a principal, talk to our staff, talk to our parents, talk to our students, so you can see what makes Washington a special place.
Washington is playing with my friends.
My favorite thing about Washington is how nice the people are.
My most favorite thing about Washington is PE.